As the home buyers are fighting for justice, that continues. The Supreme Court has now pulled up the builder Amrapali yet again. And this time, it's a slamming that has come in for the group for not submitting documents that the court had asked for. So the directors of Amrapali are to stay in police custody till the documents that are relating to the accounts of all the 46 group companies now are submitted. They have been arrested and they are to remain in police custody because they did not submit these documents. Our Deputy News Editor Meenakshi Bhanja getting us further inputs here on this. Meenakshi, without doubt, this is a huge step, given the fact it also sends out a very strong message to other such defaulting builders.
Well, absolutely, Seher, you've hit the nail on its head, and this is very, very huge, impactful news coming in from the Supreme Court. And the observations of the Supreme Court, if they are anything to go by, today the Supreme Court has observed to the Amrapali directors, and I quote, "If you want to live with dignity, hand over the documents," unquote. Essentially, they have invoked the ire of the Supreme Court because on an earlier occasion, the Supreme Court had ordered for the group directors to hand over all the documents pertaining to their movable, immovable properties for the purpose of forensic audit, which was again ordered by the top court. And today it was the Supreme Court which discovered that the directors are not acting in all earnestness. They're not disclosing all the details to the auditors. The documents pertaining to 40 plus movable, immovable properties have not been handed over to these auditors, and that is the reason the Supreme Court has gone ahead and cracked this whip. Honorable Justice Arun Mishra observing today, I hope now they will cooperate. This is when the directors were being taken into police custody forthwith as the court completed dictating their orders. So this is a huge step towards ensuring that the directors comply with the earlier directions of the Supreme Court, and also, like you correctly referred to, this sends out a very, very terse message to all the other home buyers who have been dodging, who have been making arguments about perhaps escaping responsibility to either pay up the money which they collected from the home buyers or go ahead and give them the houses which were earlier promised. Interestingly, this is the second time we are seeing a crackdown of this nature. Our viewers will recall the earlier time that the Supreme Court took this extreme step was in the case of Subroto Roy of Sahara. Back to you.
Yes, stay on with us, Meenakshi. We're also getting a word here from Mr. Amit Gupta, who's the lead petitioner here in this case. Mr. Gupta, many thanks for being with us. Help us understand what next. Any assurance here by Amrapali to hand over those papers in absolute transparency instead of trying to even play around with the Supreme Court now?
Yeah, so to talk about this particular order which we have got today, this order specifically asks the Delhi police in tandem with, SSP Noida and Greater Noida to arrest the builder. You see, this is the first time happened in the history of Supreme Court and the real estate industry wherein the builder at a level of a CMD has been directly arrested from the court. What court has said today was that this builder is doing fraud with the system, not only just with the home buyers, with just the court. They are, going rampant towards, following the non-compliances of the previous orders. So they have been asked, the Delhi police has been asked to work in tandem with these authorities in Noida and Greater Noida and take the builder on board and to keep them in the lockup unless they provide and submit the documents to the forensic auditor. So if you may are aware of it, that last time court has appointed the forensic auditor because our allegation towards the builder was that he has siphoned off the money worth crores 2,700. So to be able to find out, the money trail and to get the money back into the system or to know where exactly the money has been siphoned off, forensic auditor was the prime demand which we placed on record a month ago. So the builder was going in a rampant mode. He was not even following the basic compliance of the court process. The law of land has to be reminded to the builder, which Supreme Court has very well reminded him today by sending him to the judicial custody. Yes, if he does not comply with this, he might be thrown back to the Tihar, where the place where he deserves. So that is one thing which Supreme Court has assured us. The law of land needs to be obeyed by whoever is fallen.
The law of land that cannot be messed with, even if you're a powerful builder, and that is the exact message now today that has been sent out by the Supreme Court, also giving more hope to those home buyers who are still waiting for their apartments. Mr. Amit Gupta, thanks for speaking to us. Also, our Deputy News Editor Meenakshi Bhanja with these inputs. We're very quickly slipping in.